everyone, and welcome to another episode of From No Crypto to No Crypto. I'm your host, the Crypto Coach, Blockchain Wayne. Today we're joined with a team of on-chain gear, myself included, bringing you Bitcoinciaga, luxury apparel. Bruno, Jeremy, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Wayne, for having us.
Yeah, thanks.
Absolutely, and this is definitely one that I wanted to have. Us three here. We basically are not just launching another apparel brand, but creating a statement that ties in really well with the Bitcoin and crypto community. But before we jump into all the things that we're doing now, Bruno, this was kind of your idea. I know this came to you a few years ago. You made a couple of prototypes. I actually still have one in the closet. But tell us a little bit about your idea behind Bitcoinciaga.
I think we were at one of our events that you and I used to host for crypto education in Miami, and we noticed that a lot of folks were wearing designer luxury brands all over the city, especially in Miami, and crypto apparel. I think all of us are innovators on this podcast. We're always thinking of different ways to use crypto assets and integrate those into new solutions, and apparel is kind of in need of that. I think there's like two areas that I identified. One was basically authentication, right, which is what blockchains do, of assets, and then taking a brand like Balenciaga and putting a little spin on it, giving it a little bit of a Bitcoin play, and it just kind of worked perfectly. Once we said it, we were like, that's it. And then I went right to making the logo 3 years ago, and then we shelved it once the crypto market crashed. But here we are. We're back. Like we knew we would be. We just had to give it some time for Bitcoin to come back. And next week, this week coming up, we're going to be the largest crypto Bitcoin conference in the world in Vegas. So I'm excited.
Yeah, and some of that demand, I think we saw that, and I was trying to get you to see that earlier this year when you came to the conference in Miami. You were wearing that at a conference, but I know I had a prototype, you had a few, and every time I would wear mine out, people would offer to buy it from me because there was nothing like it. People like it, and people like to wear something different that makes a statement. But $4, $5, $6, $7, $800 for a T-shirt. People are buying luxury brands. And a lot of cases, not to really crap on luxury brands too much, but, we will a little bit. I mean, we're finding out recently that a lot of the luxury brands are really just having stuff not as good quality as people think it is. It's just slapping a name on it and getting it out. But the real thing is the people that wear it, that support the brand, that are out there being the billboard, they're not rewarded in any way for wearing that. Other than, look, I wore this Gucci shirt, I wore this Balenciaga shirt, I wore this Christian Dior or whatever, but there's no.
I think a lot of the times too, they're wearing fake, real garments that they think are real, but they're actually fake and they look real. So, and they're not getting rewarded. So now, you paid $800 for a T-shirt and it's not even an authentic, garment by the brand. It's just something that someone ripped you off for. So not only are you getting potentially scammed, you're also not getting any value on the backside. And you're not really, in my opinion, I think people who wear like Balenciaga is an example. People who wear that, it's an affinity for a brand, right, that does nothing for its community, right? Not that it's a bad company. I'm not saying that, because, it isn't. But at the same time, it's like you're buying essentially a depreciating asset, right? You're not getting any crypto assets when you buy Balenciaga. You're not getting any tokens. You're not getting involved in the world of blockchain, which is the future, right? So I think this is just like a really, really awesome narrative that we're creating with the brand. And the more people that have exposure to what we're doing and seeing how a crypto asset can back an apparel company, I think we're going to really open up some eyes and ears around what the clothing industry at large and a lot of other industries, right, have in store for themselves with Web3 technology and blockchain. So, Wayne and I and Jeremy have been doing this for a long time, actually, since 2017, Wayne even before me. So, Web3 has been coming, and now this is it, finally. I think this is it. Wayne, what do you think? I think we're here. I think we've arrived. I mean, we're not all the way there, obviously. We'll talk about that on this show, I'm sure, because we've had our own challenges, even with integrating payment systems, right, for our company. So we're still not there, but I think institutional money has arrived, which we've never seen before. So we're out of the speculation, in my opinion, around Bitcoin. I don't think there's any more speculating because we have real, true custodial agents and institutional investors. So we're in a really good spot with Bitcoin right now, and it's time for new companies like this to start to be, at the forefront of all industry.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, Jeremy, something for you, man. I know you guys have been doing the apparel thing a lot, for quite a while. And so this is not just a couple guys that got together with no experience. You guys have a ton of experience in apparel. I've been making my own stuff for the last, I don't know, 8 or 9 years just because I couldn't find good stuff. But I think a lot of what you guys have done in the sports world, like when you think about people are very passionate about teams, whether it's professional teams, teams their kids are in. People like to wear that type of gear to show that they're a part of something. And you're right, Bruno. I mean, luxury brands really don't signify that you're part of any community other than, you're a person that can afford a $500 t-shirt. But, that being said, Jeremy, what do you see kind of in the plays of this? Because you are, you guys do a lot of sporting events as well too, right? So do you see this as kind of could have some of that similarity in terms of building community, like a quote unquote team?
Well, absolutely. Because if you look at it just like as like a sports franchise or a team, they support their brand so much, right? And we're going to do the same thing. And we're launching Bitcoinciaga. That's what we're launching. But there's so many more plays that are going to be coming out of it. And the beauty of this project is what the people that join first are going to have exclusive drops to be able to get product first on limited basis. And this is the great thing. And top of that, we're going to have influencers, touching certain products so they can kind of build their own brand, and they're going to have they're going to have a say on that product. So just like a team, if it's a wrestling team, a football team, whatever, it's supporting that brand and getting the fan gear out there as well. So I think it just touches on all those bases. And on the same side, you're going to get rewarded and the community is going to build it, right? This community is going to build this project. It's not us. We're just throwing something out there to kind of get the thing kickstarted.
Yeah. I think that's a good point, because all Web3 communities now, they build themselves, right? We've talked a lot about DAOs, Wayne, you and I. We've done a lot of things around what's to come with organizational structure and smart contracts, right? So this is kind of, in a way, it could build itself out into somewhat of a DAO. That might even be something we look to do down the road as we launch new components, to Jeremy's point, because it can become what the community wants it to become, because it really, at the end of the day, that's what Web3 is about. And having the token as the centrifuge for everything, I think is like just a really, really powerful opportunity for an apparel company that can do, like Jeremy said. I think we start with what we're wearing right now and the look of it, but in a year, 2 years from now, because this is a long-term play, this project could look very, very different. And it could be technologically very different. We could have RFIDs. We've talked about that. So there's just so many things in the Web3 space today that can help us to deliver on the expectations that we're setting with our community, which is to be the greatest luxury, maybe it's not luxury eventually, who knows, apparel company in the world because of the token. Yeah. It's not about the apparel. Like when we founded this thing, we talked a lot about that as a team. Hey, the apparel is the tool, but the token is the magic, right? I mean, and that's all Web3,
Yeah. Well, I think sorry, go ahead, Jeremy.
I was just going to throw out there, because when you talk about that luxury brand and what have you, and you talk about the knockoffs, but the knockoffs support that brand so much more.
Yeah.
And we're going out there and saying, this is us. This is what we're about. And guess what? If somebody wants to copy us, go copy us, because they're just going to help build the brand, right? But yes, the people that are involved in this, the community, all that's driving it, they're the ones getting rewarded from it, because the way the project is outlined, right? So
it's such a cool point. And you told me that a couple of days ago, and it really, really hit me, because I was like, you know what? We don't even have to have the fear that Balenciaga has, that Louis Vuitton has. They're fearful of their underground markets, their third world country markets that are replicating their product, because it bites into their profits. We don't even have that fear, because you would not be supporting this brand and be a part of the community if you don't have a token bag, right? So go buy it from our competitor who's copying us, because they're not able to issue you authenticated crypto assets on chain. We are. So it really does define what a real company, whatever, we just take the industry out of it, what a real company should do to build its own community, right? That's the reality of what it is we're doing. And I think if it's communicated right, like we're doing tonight, brand messaging wise, and a community really gets around it, this could be the most powerful community maybe in the crypto space in time, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely, and what you're talking about in terms of giving the community choices to vote in the future. I mean, it could be on drops, it can be on what we're going to do, certain color schemes. I mean, there's so much there, but you're right. I mean, they're not really a member of the community unless they have the tokens, and we're going to add so much utility to those tokens. And we'll get into more in a little bit in terms of how does the distribution work of the token, what's going to build value, add liquidity to the token, because there's so many things to come. And Bitcoinciaga, as you mentioned, we're gonna roll out with so many different things. Bitcoinciaga is our Genesis drop. It's kind of an ode to Bitcoin. Bitcoin was first. Bitcoinciaga is the Genesis drop of what we're doing. Multiple different variations. In fact, we're each wearing a different variation of the gear now between Bruno, Jeremy, myself. Jeremy's got that sweet hat that I can't wait to get my hands on. So there's going to be so much more to come. And getting in now, I mean, just like getting early in Bitcoin, the rewards in Bitcoin early were huge. The rewards with Bitcoinciaga are bigger now, and they're going to diminish over time. There's still going to be more value down the road, but getting in early is key, and you're getting like that rookie card, that early access, the most tokens. If you mine Bitcoin in 2009, 2010, you got a lot more than you did if you were mining it recently, right? So there's so many different tie-ins to that, and just an ode to Bitcoin. This is something I've been toying around with and actually building kind of a mock AI agent right now. And I'm thinking we need to, and I haven't even told you guys this yet, but building an AI agent that I think we could potentially use in our community and website. That's going to be, I'm thinking Swag Toshi. What do you guys think of that?
Yeah, AI. I mean, AI is like, everybody says, I'm hearing a lot, actually, like a lot of people in my network talking AI this, AI that, any industry, right? And it's true, right. AI's here and it's getting better by the day. In some cases, teaching itself, right? So, but what's really cool about it is that I think you can't stop it, right? You're not stopping AI. I think a lot of people are like fearful. I've heard some of that. That's like the word on the street. I'm fearful of this. But I think the companies and the leaders, especially in the Web3 space, that embrace AI, like Wayne's done. I mean, you're one of the most involved in it that I've seen so far. You're really passionate about it. I think it's going to change the trajectory of companies. Literally, that's how powerful it is. I mean, it in essence helped us already with this project quite a bit. From an efficiency standpoint, I was wowed. It's
trying to build a white paper, right? I mean, from there, I use AI in multiple things every day. And this is kind of where I see it here. I mean, we're not going to start in this huge way. When I talk about building an AI agent, it's funny because, the way Bruno and I first met, what was that, 2017, 2018? Came on each other's podcast. Yeah, you were doing mining and you were doing educational stuff, right? Try crypto mining. And I was doing educational stuff. And that's where I see the first use for, if I finish fully fleshing out an AI agent, is in the community, engagement, and education, right? Imagine just being able to ask a question instead of waiting for one of us or a moderator or somebody to answer your question. You could get immediate answers on certain things, not just about our brand, but we're going to add in stuff about the industry. I built a ton of content over the years that we can and I can flood in all of those transcripts from those videos and even new stuff that's out there, new how-to guides, everything that comes out. That's the beauty of it. You can get access to those right then and there. And so I think we can flesh it out more as we go. But I just thought, talking about the ode to Bitcoin, it just makes sense. Satoshi is behind Bitcoin, whoever that may be, person or persons. And for us, doing, adding that agent as well too. But I want to get back to the token. And Jeremy, I came up with an initial plan for the token distribution. You tweaked it a little bit, which is really good and I love it. So can you share a little bit about the tokenomics, like how the token's going to be distributed as we sell apparel?
Yeah, basically we're on our first launch, right? So what we're going after is selling a garment and everybody's going to get 64 tokens until we hit a certain number of garments. And that number is 3,200 garments. And that's about a lot. after we hit the 3,200 garments, we're going to drop that down to 32 tokens, and we're going to go to sell 64 garments or 6,400 garments. So 3,200 to 6,400. So everything's going to double and everything's going to half. The beauty of it all is we're launching this thing at, $100 price points and what have you, because portion of that is going to be pushed into the liquidity. So we know that part, right? The beauty is when we do these certain drops of just 100 hoodies and we throw these things out at $500, the liquidity pool is going to get bigger on less token, which is going to make the token worth more.
Yeah.
And that's what's great about it. And it's going to continue to do that until we get out all 21 million tokens, right?
Yep. So the Bitcoinciaga tokens are on the runes, are built using runes, should I say, on the Bitcoin network. So it is native to the Bitcoin network. When the liquidity pairs go live, it's going to be traded to Bitcoin because it's on the Bitcoin network, on the DEX. And Jeremy mentioned it, liquidity is going to grow because it's not a set dollar amount going into the liquidity. It's a percentage of each sale. So every sale we make, 20% goes to the liquidity pool. Every piece of garment gets right now 64 tokens. And then when that halving cycle takes effect, when we distribute 210,000 tokens, then the reward gets cut in half. Kind of it's all an ode to Bitcoin. We had to tweak the numbers a little bit because initially we're thinking I was trying to go with the whole 50 tokens at first and then 25 the same way Bitcoin halves, but the essence is there. Just had to tweak the numbers to where we're not waiting 10 years for to hit the next halving. Just because it's not based on a 10-minute cycle like Bitcoin. So basically 20% is going to go in. I think it's every 10 units that are sold, 10 or more units are sold is when that's going to be added to the liquidity pool. There is some logistics there, right, Jeremy? You've got to convert any cash that's collected over to Bitcoin to add to the liquidity pool. So it's not going to be automated at first. I think eventually we'll figure out a way to automate that. But for now, it's going to be converted over. So as the brand grows, as more people learn about it, the token will grow. And so we don't have to give out, affiliate links to people to sell apparel. They wear apparel. They wear their apparel. They hold their tokens. More people see it, or they share the information of where people can get it to friends, family, or anybody that sees it. And, their token value can grow over time. Sure, they could sell it in the beginning for a few bucks, but they could also hodl it for a long time and potentially have some big rewards when this is the global brand that we know it's going to be.
The other thing too on this topic is that, like Wayne said, we're going to be paired with Bitcoin, the best crypto asset ever created, up over 1,000,000% since its inception, and it's not stopping. So Bitcoinciaga is going to do well. We know that because we're working really hard against the project and we're putting it out there to the world finally. But as Bitcoin grows in value, so does Bitcoinciaga, right, Wayne? So Wayne's a really amazing trader, and he's been a great trader for a while. So his strategies work long term, right? Your long term strategies are really good. You may not be the best day trader. I don't think you are, actually, but
no. I kind of gave most of that up. I do a lot of swing trading long term.
Hey, yeah. I'll add something that's really important for just your normal person walking the street. Like I've already sold this at a sporting event that I was at. You know what I'm saying? And we haven't even launched it. Like we're launching it at the Bitcoin conference and all that kind of stuff. And people are like, I want to know about this, and just tell them about it, and they get all excited about it. But for that normal person in their mindset, you got to think walking down the street, you know what? I'm going to buy a shirt and I become an owner. I mean,
be the bull.
If you
that's the bull. That's the bull mindset.
Basically, yeah. I mean, rev share. What's better than rev share? They're not sharing like after, profit after everything's done. They're getting a rev share. The community's getting a rev share of the.
But it's building a brand. Every time they wear their shirt, people are going to ask questions, and then it's just going to continue to sell. And you get this going across the state, across the country, across the world. It's just that, and the response that we get just with these mock-ups that we came out with, and just going to sporting events and things like that is just insane, right? And that's
it is the initial impression that we get from any consumer is insane. It's just because here's the thing. What do they have? They have an affinity for Bitcoin. They like luxury brands, and they like different, right? It's like, what is that, right? Like, that's the thing. Like, no, you don't see this, right? This is so innovative. Just the brand alone, not to mention what we've curated behind the brand now, right? Like with what we're doing with Web3 and everything. So, like, wow. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like getting more excited now that we're doing this podcast. To be honest with you guys, it's
cool. I think when the gear came in, like when the first mock-ups came in that we wore, you two guys wore it to a bare knuckle fighting championship event, right?
Yes. Yep.
And you guys had athletes, world famous musicians, everybody coming up to you guys asking about it, right?
Yep. Yeah, you're just having people just want to take pictures with us.
Yeah.
Like, who are you?
Exactly.
Right.
Pretty funny.
And
I got a guy who's got like 30 million followers on Instagram. That's a famous rapper asking Jeremy to take a photo with him. Pretty cool stuff going on already.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that same weekend, I just happened to be, it was the week before, I was in South Florida. And so the first place I wore mine was, I was at an event, and the host of that event set up the speaker and VIP meeting at a Ferrari dealership. Everybody in that Ferrari dealership wanted to know about Bitcoinciaga and Bitcoin, and it starts that conversation too. If you like talking about Bitcoin, you can wear something like this, and it'll definitely get that conversation going. Then we left there, and the second part of the day, we went to the Palm Beach Boat Show. And everywhere I'm walking in, I actually walked onto a yacht. It was like a $7 million boat. The owner of the company that's trying to sell the yacht looks at me and says, one, he says, Bitcoin's up today. Two, he says, I'll take Bitcoin if you want to buy this boat. And I'm like, I'm not spending it yet. And then three, he wanted to know more about the brand because it was catching everybody's eyes as you walk by because it's not something they've seen before. And we say luxury. People hear luxury right now, right? They think expensive. Right, that's all they think because it's expensive. Because let's face it, you can get less expensive stuff that's just as good a quality as luxury out there. But what we're bringing is high quality material. Right, you guys have sourced all of this high quality material and all the value that comes with it. That's missing from traditional luxury brands that have kind of lost touch with their follower base, and we've seen it. I think over the last few years, right? How many luxury brands have, and people have short memories, but how many luxury brands have quote unquote gotten canceled for something stupid they've done, crazy they've done against their quote unquote fan base, and there's really nothing to bring that fan base back.
Here's one of the things that I always used to, when Wayne and I used to educate a lot. One of the things I always told people, and I still do today, is that if you really, really stop and think about Bitcoin, forget Bitcoinciaga. Let's just talk about Bitcoin, right? And all hail Satoshi, like we always say, right? This individual, whoever this was, still hasn't touched their bag, which is insane, okay? The identity of the asset and the network that supports it every day is owned by literally no one, but it's also owned by everyone. So when you think right now about a brand, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, whatever it is, Bitcoin itself today, I believe, is the most powerful brand statement just on a visual, like what you're wearing right now at Wayne with your Bitcoin logo, the actual core logo, right? The Genesis logo. There's nothing more powerful, but at the same time, I think what the real genius of our project, what I'm getting at here, the real genius of the project and where I got this idea 3 years ago in my head was, why aren't people using a brand that you don't have to have a license or a trademark to use to build companies, right? And that's where Bitcoinciaga really was birthed, is I wanted to be smart and use a brand that I knew I could use. Like me and Jeremy deal with this with our apparel companies sometimes when we do, like we recently did a Trump thing. We're like worried, oh my God, can we use Trump IP? But at the end of the day, we can, right? But in some instances you can't. But here with Bitcoin, the actual Bitcoin logo, nobody can stop us. And everybody embraces us. So why not? You know what I mean? That was the whole idea. The inceptional idea of this was like, why not? Why not use one of the biggest, boldest brands in the world? Because we can, we can. That's why Satoshi did what they did, whoever that was, It was a sacrifice for all, and that's the coolest part about what Bitcoin stands for today.
Yeah.
And we're seeing it actually play out. We're seeing it play out. I remember in 2017, the pure speculation of a run from 3,000 to 20,000 and back down to 3,000, right? Like, we're not ever going to see that type of run again because it's not speculation anymore, like we talked about earlier. It's purely built right now in my opinion, I don't think we're going to see it ever again have one of those, crashes like that. I don't think it'll happen again. I don't.
It might fall from 250.
We'll see cycles,
to
but we're not going to see that.
Yeah,
we're not going to see that.
yeah,
We're going to see cycles for sure, but
yeah, and that's with any scarce asset. So one last thing on the token. So the Bitcoinciaga token, Jeremy mentioned the distribution model. Out of those tokens, there's 420, so two batches of 210,000 tokens set aside. One of them is going to be for marketing and promotions, reward the community, do some promotions, and then the other 210,000 is set aside for basically for staking rewards. We're going to set it up to where at some point we're shooting towards later in the year to be able to stake rewards. So if you're going to hold your Bitcoinciaga tokens just like you're going to hold your Bitcoin, then we're going to have a mechanism to where you can earn, and it's going to be allocated based off of that, how many people are staking and the rewards that are available and kind of a release schedule for those. But it's just an additional reward, right? The brand grows, more liquidity is going to get added anyway. But staking rewards is something else that we have added. And so that's the basis. Anything else you guys want to say about that? Because next I'm going to move on and we're going to talk more about the Bitcoin conference.
No, what I think is cool that we haven't talked about though, just briefly, is the Xverse wallet. Definitely pretty cool. So that has a really great support for the Runes token, which is what this is built on. So, it's exciting to have a wallet partner, and I think we're going to build that partnership out even stronger as we go down the roadmap here for the company.
Yeah. So Xverse wallet app is where you can hold your Runes tokens, your Bitcoin. It is a Bitcoin wallet. Any ordinals or anything else that you want to hold in there, you can hold anything Bitcoin related in Xverse, and that's the one we use to really set a lot of the things up. A lot of great tech there, and so we're going to continue to build on the technical side out as we grow. Anything else you guys want to say before I'm going to jump into the Bitcoin conference? Because we're going to jump into what's happening this week.
Now let's talk about the Bitcoin conference because I'm excited.
Yep.
So starting on Tuesday, May 27th, Bitcoin 2025 conference in Las Vegas, the largest Bitcoin conference of the year every year. It's been running for a long time. It was in Nashville last year, was in Miami a few years prior to that. Usually brings crowds of 20, 30, 35,000 people or more that are all coming to this one place to really just give an ode to Bitcoin-related tech. And we'll be there. We're going to have a booth set up in the Bitcoin Bazaar area, vendor booth where people are about to come by. Jeremy is wearing one of the amazing shirts that's going to be in there as well. So, Jeremy, tell everybody what you have coming in. Obviously, we're not going to have every piece of inventory that we have there, but what are people going to expect to come by our booth at the Bitcoin conference?
Well, definitely they're going to be able to see all the products that we have on display. So, some of the things, we're factory making. This stuff not just sitting on the shelf and all that kind of stuff. You order it, you're going to get this stuff made by the factory and shipped to you. And there's that process of everything, because everything's unique with serial numbers and things like that. So all that stuff's going to be on display. We also have some other products. Like if you come up and say, hey, I really want this logo, I'm going to make that logo for you on the spot and press it on a shirt for you. So that's just an added benefit. If you just come up and say, hey, this is my brand and I don't have anything, I need 10 of them for these people at the conference, just come over to us and we'll make 10 shirts for you just like that on the spot. So we're going to have that opportunity as well, just the touch and feel, the whole process, the purchase, the flow through and all that kind of stuff. And then, and get this kicked off and started the way it's supposed to be. So we're excited.
Yeah.
There's no energy like a crypto event. So I'm excited to see the response, because we've had, like we talked about tonight, we have had response from like just everyday people, but a real community of Bitcoin maximalists to see this. I think it's going to be special. So I'm excited.
We'll see. Look, hey, even the people that are going to ridicule it, they're going to take pictures and post them as well. So I don't think no publicity. I mean, all publicity is good publicity, right? So, but I think the community is going to like it.
Well, sorry, Wayne, cut you off, but This is the exciting thing about it is we're not just saying, hey, this is just our brand and this is the way it's going to be and all this kind of stuff. We've already started partnerships with other groups that we're able to partner with them and help grow their community on their brand, and they're going to get tokens. We're doing that. You know what I'm saying? We're not just coming out and saying, hey, it's just us. That's not the way it works. We're building a community in the Bitcoin space. And that's what we want.
That's what's always been I think a catalyst for crypto is that it's other, tokens, partner, right? But it's really about support of the whole Web3 space, right? Like the more, and everyone gets frustrated. There's so many meme tokens. There's so many this. There's so many that. It's like, cool. That's competition, right? Like the more competitive the landscape, the better the industry. So, and we're starting to see that now. I think more and more, and like there's more opportunity with DeFi than ever. I don't think anyone's really talking about that right now. And this company, who knows? This company could become, just throwing it out there as the innovator on the call, me and Wayne with the blockchain side. Like I could see an NFT vehicle for Bitcoinciaga in the future that actually has DeFi, farming and staking protocol, where people that own garments get interest when they back their tokens into our community, right? Like, so, there's no end to what we could do with the right community supporting the project, right? So, and like to Jeremy's points tonight, that's what we want. We want a real community. It's a real project, right? It's not a meme token. It's not. It has utility. It has real utility. That has always been, Wayne and I have always preached that to everybody that we've educated about crypto since people were like, what's crypto? Now people are like, I know crypto, right? We're almost there, but it's like, what do you know about crypto? Well, if it doesn't have utility, it doesn't have any value, right? So we're bringing real on-chain utility to this token. So, that's the power of it, I think.
Yeah. So there's been two sides to that over the years that I've seen. There's been really good tech projects that have launched with amazing tech and utility, but no community backing it, and it never gets any traction. Right?
Yeah, and no marketing. No marketing. You've seen it.
Yeah. Yeah. Or the opposite, great marketing, big community, no utility. It's just all hype and speculation. And there is a lot to say. I will say this, though. As much as I don't like a lot of the meme tokens that are out there, there's a select few community that have built really good community, and people pay for community. Why do people pay so much to be in a country club, in a golf club, all these different clubs, right? They pay for access to. So if you can merge those two, where you building community, you're leveraging utility, you're adding more and more. Like imagine having tokens, and more you find out different things you can do with it that you have access to, or different things. And that is really what's exciting. And that's when people are going to really say, yes, I'm in crypto. Most people that say they've been in crypto for a few years, they buy on Coinbase or some other exchange and they never move it. They don't even know how to send, receive crypto right now. That's just the basis of what you get, where we're going to build real tools to where people are going to see, how can I use this? How does this work? Oh, there's a reward mechanism. There's this, there's that. I get to vote on certain things that are coming with this company. They can see the true premise of what Web3 is more than just a buzzword. And a lot of people, especially, I'll say this, a lot of, people that are Bitcoin only, Bitcoiners, they think Web3 is just a buzzword marketing term that's not going anywhere. But it's being able to connect my wallet, and if I hold those tokens, maybe I get access to something else. We're going to as Jeremy mentioned, we're going to partner with other brands, other communities, and say, just by holding your tokens, not even spending them, you connect your wallet, and by holding them, you get some special perk from another business, another company, another community. So I think
the possibilities are endless, I think. And then us putting it out to the world finally, because 3 years ago I shelved it. I'm glad I shelved it. I think the timing is right now, and that's important in crypto. We know that. So the timing for Bitcoinciaga is now, and this is our week to really. I know we did a soft launch in the bare knuckle fight at the Hard Rock in Hollywood with a bunch of big names, but now this is like the real crypto launch, in my opinion, our hard launch with the real Bitcoin community. So and we're in Las Vegas. So this is going to be pretty cool. Yeah. We'll see how we really get a response, right? One of the most exciting, nonstop, 24/7 cities in the world. So I think we're going to make a big impression, and at a minimum, get some new billboards.
Yeah, Jeremy, man, you're from Vegas, right? You're originally from Vegas. Don't you think, even outside of people that are at the Bitcoin conference, do you think a lot of people there are going to stop and look? I mean, I guess you've seen it already in Florida and in other places, but I think there's going to be a lot of non-Bitcoin people that are going to be interested in what we're doing.
Oh, Vegas is unique that way. The amount of people that are there, a lot of people don't understand the capacity of that city. It has 180,000 hotel rooms, and there's more hotel rooms on one corner in Vegas than all of Miami Beach. And when you start to put that together and say, wow, that's a lot of people. There's not another city that has this amount of people walking through it 24 hours a day. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's the beauty of it. When they get a buzz that's on that corner or whatever the case is, then it just gravitates people to it. You know, some people not even gonna know the conference is there. They're just going to show up. That's just the way it's going to be.
I think a lot of people too in Vegas are gamblers. Maybe they like to gamble. That's why they're there. And crypto is one of the most speculative asset classes in the history of time, just by definition, right? So, like, I think anybody who's I know me personally, I'm a gambler. So is Jeremy. Like, we like risk. So if you like risk, you're gonna love Bitcoin, right? So I think that even for somebody who's never really gotten exposure, like deeper exposure to Bitcoin, that's there to learn about Bitcoin, they're going to get excited about what they see in this brand, just on the sheer fact that it's a joining of that and another token. So, but it's still a Bitcoin. So we're not like, I don't think we're going against a Bitcoin maximalist either, Wayne. You know, like we're kind of saying, hey, here's some more layers to Bitcoin, right? Like, and it is a Bitcoin, right? So that's what I like. When we started out on this project, I wanted it to be a Bitcoin, and we did. You know, it's just pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, think about our banner that's going to be out there. You know, it's got a phrase on there: buy luxury, grow community, stack sats. Because that's what people are doing. At any point, people will be able to cash out their Bitcoinciaga tokens for Bitcoin. Which depends on some are going to do it early on, get a few bucks. Some a little bit later, maybe get a few $100, and some can hold it for a while. And this turns into the brand that we all know this could be. It could have a lot more value, and there's also that intrinsic value that comes with the more you can utilize. That token gives you access somewhere, you're less likely to sell it. Like, I've got an NFT that I hold for a different, for a place in New Orleans, and I don't really care about the value of it. It gives me access to so many different things in my, my city, that I'm not going to sell it unless I have to move. And it's going to be the same with this, to where it's not just going to be, I can get a few $100s if I sell this token right now. It'll be, well, if I give up my tokens, I don't have access to this and that.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I think anybody that's going to get involved in this community, they're going to do it for all the right reasons. And we've seen that with Web3 and blockchain technology projects, is that, you don't just get in here to get rich with this project. That's not the mindset. And I think what's cool about us as the leaders of it is that is going to be something that we stand on always. Like, you're not here to get a quick, rich, pump and dump meme scam token, right? You're here for the long haul, and we have a lot to offer, right? Most crypto tokens, like especially meme tokens, they don't really have a lot to offer. Like Wayne said tonight, yeah, they have a good community, and they start to become a part of a club. That's cool and all, and maybe they make some money, but a lot of times those projects lose, and I don't see our long-term trajectory with the way that we've built out this white paper. I really see this project just continuing to deliver value to the community members that decide to become a part of it. And it's freedom of choice to become a part of it, right? What are you doing? Why do you like it?
Yeah. And I think, also we're going to, you're really passionate about education. I've built thousands of hours of educational content and tools over the years, over the last nine plus years. So I think, when you're building community, it's all about educating the community, getting everybody to understand the basics. So yeah, we're going to eventually have stuff. We're going to teach you about Bitcoin and wallets and security. And also the biggest thing too is how to spot a lot of the scams that are out there. That's the biggest problem with crypto, is not the meme coins, not the altcoins. It's really the scams that are out there that people are falling for because they don't understand the tech. As soon as somebody that I know calls me, whether they've already fallen for it and they start telling me the story, and I just start shaking my head, because if they just knew a little bit, they wouldn't have fallen for it. Or, they have questions and there's all these red flags, like, that's not even how this tech works. That's not what it is. So, I mean, there's so many different facets we can do. That's what it is. We want to onboard the world. Let's get people's attention with Bitcoinciaga, and then we'll get you into the ecosystem, and where even if you don't have a wallet, you don't have any Bitcoin yet, we can help you. We can show you how to do that. And then you get your Bitcoinciaga tokens. You start buying your own Bitcoin as well once you learn about it. And then you'll learn more about the ecosystem, the world of crypto. And I think that's good too, because people don't fall for these buzzwords like fastest blockchain. We all know, if you've been in the industry for a while, that there's different facets of these blockchain networks. So to say something is faster than Bitcoin, guess what? Bitcoin doesn't care. Bitcoin is the most secure network, so it doesn't matter how fast it is. But those are the types of things that I think we're gonna.
The other thing too, Wayne. The other thing, Wayne, is that I think specifically with what you're talking about is that education component. You don't need to have any knowledge initially to make a purchase of a piece of apparel. this is something Jeremy and I talked about, right? When Jeremy brought this up, it really hit me. Anybody, right? I don't care who you are. You know how to go onto a website and check out and buy a hoodie. Now, in effect, by doing that action, which is very easy to do, we're going to get you into crypto. We're going to send you your tokens. As long as you can download an app on the iOS store, we're going to get you Bitcoin tokens that you've never had because you're a novice. If you're a complete novice and you've never owned a crypto asset, you could buy a hoodie. You can do that. And I think that's some more of the genius of what we're doing is we've kind of made it simple for all, right? You do not have to have one single ounce of knowledge to get into this project at all. You don't. Because you can buy a hoodie on a website for sure in 2025 if you have a credit card or a debit card, and you can 100% download an app on your iPhone or your Android and send us a copy, an address with instruction. It's really that simple. So I think that's kind of exciting too for me because I don't want to stand and talk to somebody for 30 minutes about how to onboard them into crypto before they buy our hoodie, right? So we actually are putting ourselves in a really strong position to grow the community easily because anybody can become a part of this community,
Yep. All right, guys. So let's start wrapping up. So any final words from you, Jeremy?
All good. Excited to see everybody. Tomorrow? I'll be there tomorrow morning.
Yeah. This week. So you're catching this early in the week, later in the week. We're going to be in Las Vegas all week. So look for us there. Bruno, any final words?
Really excited to be back. I'm just enthralled that Ross is going to be there. I heard that we got Trump Jr. and JD coming. So they're real. I personally think the people that matter are now in crypto. We're seeing that it's starting to grow at inordinate amounts, and I don't think there's any stopping. I think August is going to be a special month, and this is the start of it all this week in Vegas. So big discussions are going to be being had there. We know that at the whale roundtables and all that stuff. So this thing is. It's becoming what Wayne and I thought it would become in 2017, which is just really, really exciting. And I think us being able to be on site with a new innovative company, crypto-backed asset apparel company it can't get much better, honestly, for me. So I look forward to meeting and seeing everybody and seeing all of our old crypto friends. So 2025 Bitcoin conference, let's go.
Absolutely. So come by at the Bitcoin Bazaar in the Bitcoin conference. Look for the Bitcoinciaga logo, the on-chain gear logo on our banner. Come see what we have. As Jeremy said, like touch, feel. I don't think people are going to appreciate it. Like this hoodie. When I first got this hoodie, I didn't really appreciate how good this hoodie was going to be until I actually could touch and feel it and see all the little details, right? The metal ringlets, the metal at the end of the pull strings, and so many other things that you can see. But also, don't wait till then. Or maybe you're hearing about this or watching this video after the conference. Find us. onchainthreads.com is the website. It's in the comments below as well. Also on all social media sites, we have an on-chain gear account and a Bitcoinciaga account. We're going to do some different things with those.
You can also go to Bitcoinciaga.com, Wayne. You can also go to Bitcoinciaga.com.
Yep, Bitcoinciaga.com as well. And check out what we have. We're constantly adding that. We've got the black gear. What you see Jeremy's wearing is going to be added to that. We also have a green gear that we've got one of our influencer friends, Kim Bozak, is going to be sporting as well this week in Vegas. And so, Jeremy's showing us that right now.
Yeah, just throw that on.
Yeah, more colors coming. We need a little pump. Where's a little pump? We need a little pump in purple. Come on, pump.
I think we got some purple stuff coming. So that's it, everybody. Thanks for listening. Bruno, Jeremy, great having you guys on. Can't wait to spend this week in Vegas, making history at the Bitcoin conference. So that's it. Thanks, everyone, for listening. And we will catch you on the next episode. Take care, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.